We call this segment simply Capitol Spotlight. We take 5 minutes before session. We talk to some members of the General Assembly and find out some of the things they've been working on. We're on the third floor right now of the State House, and we have one of the newer members of the Rhode Island House of Representatives, Representative Blake Filippi, and Representative, I know, again, I mentioned that you're in your freshman term, but no grass has grown under your feet because you've been busy. You've been on the move. You've been working on a lot of things. One is a bill to require instant runoff elections. Tell our viewers about that, please.
Certainly. So an instant runoff election is where if no candidate gets a majority on the first ballot, there's a runoff election between the top vote getters. And you can do it instantly with today's technology, where on your ballot, you just pick your first and your second choice. And if your first choice doesn't make it into round two, your votes go to your second choice candidate.
Now, would that be for all elections?
So the bill we have is for our general officers
Right.
and General Assembly candidates.
Okay, now, does that increase the cost of elections to a state of Rhode Island? Is that the argument against it, that it costs more money?
I don't think it does because it can all be done on one ballot. I think the only cost would be in educating voters on this new way of voting. And I've seen the sample ballots where they use in other cities, and it is simple. Instant runoff voting is simple. It's a grid. You mark your first and your second and possibly your third choice if there's more than three candidates.
Now, have other states gone to this? I'm sure you and your staff have done research about this. Is it something that's becoming more popular?
It is in major cities across the country. San Francisco, with a population of approximately 880,000 people, has instant runoff voting. Nashville, Tennessee, with 448,000 people do it. And London, England, for the election for the mayor of London, has 8.2 million people, and they're able to successfully do instant runoff voting.
That's very interesting. Now, in your other life, you're an accomplished lawyer. And you, in fact, tell the audience where you went to law school.
I went to Rutgers Camden School of Law.
Yeah, a pretty prestigious school, well respected.
Thank you.
You have some legislation that you're working on that deals with drones and getting warrants by police departments. Tell us about that.
Sure. So the right to privacy in this country is such a bedrock. It's so fundamental to the American experience that unfortunately our Supreme Court decisions aren't keeping pace with technology. And our United States Supreme Court has said you don't have a right to a reasonable expectation of privacy in the airspace above your house. So the police can take a helicopter and go around your house without a warrant. They don't need one. It's not a violation of the Fourth Amendment. And so with this the soon-to-be pervasive technology of drones being everywhere, we want to get ahead of that Supreme Court decision and say, all right, if police are going to use drones, they need to get a warrant. And of course, there's exceptions.
I want to take you back to an early law school class, maybe dealing with the exclusionary rule, the fruit of the poisonous tree. We've all heard about that. With this technology now, people can go in a department store and buy these drones and they have cameras on them. And let's say a police agency does that. Isn't that the same as the plain view doctrine that exists today, that if a police officer sees something essentially in plain view, even if it is from the sky, isn't that admissible as evidence, as you understand it, the officer of the court?
Exactly, and that was the United States Supreme Court case I was talking about with a police officer using a helicopter above your house. If it's in plain view, there's no reasonable expectation of privacy, and they don't need a warrant. So currently, right now, under United States case law, they could buy a warrant, fly around your house, and they don't need a warrant. They don't need a warrant. They could buy a drone and do it.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think I would be wanting to err on the side of getting the warrant. I mean, a lot of people say, well, listen, if you're not doing anything wrong, what's the big deal? Well, I don't want somebody just going through randomly my bureau drawers or what's in my kitchen. And I think you're asking for open season on tyranny. That's a very interesting position you're taking. The question is, do you think you have the votes?
I think that people in this state are very cognizant of individual liberty. I think we really are. Whether on the left or the right, people understand how important the right to privacy is.
Well, and again, I think it's really an interesting part of the law, and it's interesting that you're taking it on with your background. You've been so generous with us. You're always great to talk to. I want to wish you and your colleagues in the House of Representatives the very best, and also just we're just a few weeks away to your prime season over there in New Shoreham. It's going to be peak season with tourism, and I know you'll be busy there as well.
Well, hope to see you there, Dave.
I can't wait. It's one of my favorite places in the country. Thank you so much, Rep, for talking to us.
Thank you.
And, of course, we could not do it without you. Thank you so much for watching. For Capital Television and Capital Spotlight, I'm Dave Barber.